Welcome to Within You, a podcast for seers, seekers, and absolutely for skeptics. Yo soy Viviana Carrasco, a modern mystic and a spiritual teacher, and it's my honor to serve as a guide and to encourage you as you travel on your spiritual journey, taking steps towards the truest calling of your soul. This is a series of episodes that have been taken from my book, Love Being Human, The Key to Harmony Within You, and I encourage you to listen to these as a series, like a Netflix series or one of those. They are individual yet intertwined, and so no one concept kind of is on its own, just like our body doesn't act on its own. But there are some points that I wanted to add to the book and offer you a kind of audio companionship with it, not an actual audio version of the book, but to say, let me say a little bit more about this paragraph or share some insight on this phrase. And this is the last episode of that series. And I am sitting here in absolute gratitude, looking back, reflecting on what it took to get here. And in real time, 2021, 2022, and even 2023 was a period of public silence for me. I didn't stop doing my work, this work, the great work, or working with clients. I just drew back from the things that were being asked of me, either in groups or in public or from commitments. I just kind of pared it down because 2020 for me was a push through kind of mentality, and then I needed to pause. I needed to create some space for me to evolve. And here's what came from that holy silence. This is the overview episode of Learning to Love Being Human. It is going to kind of give you a brief skeleton of the different practices, a kind of summary. And then I want to offer you some next steps as we get to the end of this. And again, it is a companion kind of experience to the book. The book is available in all bookstores, probably not on the shelf, but if you request it, they'll be able to order it for you. So, and if you'd like to have an autographed, a sort of signed copy made out to you, reach out to me at vivian@viviancarrasco.com. And for the price of the book, plus a little bit for shipping, I'm happy to do that and send it to you. So the first point that I need to make about learning to love being human is that there is no beginning or ending to this process. One of the icons that accompanies my work is this infinity symbol. And it represents that you are on a journey that doesn't end, it does deepen. There are phases of this journey. And the way that I am experiencing them right now in this moment is that there's a period of creation and pause, work and play, night and day, sleep and wake. It's this balance, right? This harmony that occurs. Even if you imagine a song, there's a period of silence and then noise. And the combination of those two is what creates the music. So you are moving through this process, whether you're doing it intentionally or not, because you are alive, have already begun. And unless you're not here with us anymore in this body, then there is no end to the discovery of who you are and how you can learn to love being human. One of the things that I have to share with you right now in this moment, as I'm recording this summary episode, having gone through this contemplative period of both birthing the book and birth and re-emerging with this, is this beautiful acceptance that who I am right now in this moment today is this Vivi. I could change my mind. My point of view could be different a year from now or 10 years from now. This is simply a marker. It's kind of a bookmark in my evolution. And that gave me a true sense of freedom. On one hand, because I didn't have to be perfect or right, which is something that I am challenged with. I don't know about you, but it's something that comes into my logical thinking mind all the time. And it gave me the freedom to simply be who I am today, to love this isness of Vivi and to encourage her to continue to grow. And that's kind of pretty. So it gave me a sense of faith. And I speak about faith in one of the episodes. My experience of faith and how I approach what I have faith in is 100,000% different than it used to be when I was younger. Faith to me back in the day meant something that I believed in, that I clung to, that was a concrete example of foundation. And now I understand it more like the mystics and the saints. And I believe even Christ himself, Jesus Christ, the one that was in the world, described it to us as metanoia, as this softening of our heart, changing of our mind, of having a new perspective, of dying to this and being reborn again. Not in an actual physical sense, but in a spiritual sense, in a sense of perceiving. And faith requires me to stay in that posture of new, to not be married or jailed by the past, and to not have my hopes sit in a future that isn't here yet, but to experience richly this moment to moment, and be curious about this experience and the lens that I see it through, and know that there is a lens that I see through, that there is a window from me to the world. The other thing about learning to love being human and staying in harmony with what is within you is that it seems like there's been a flip in the scales of what mattered to me. And not to be cute or coy, but it used to be matter. The things in front of me were the most important to me, whether they were symbols of achievements like degrees or things like houses and cars. I've never been a clothes person, but those kinds of things used to matter so much. I don't take those things for granted. But the invisible parts of my experience are now 80 or more % of my experience. And I'll give you an example that is close to my heart, that comes to mind for me to share with you. I have been married to my husband for 36 years. Isn't that crazy just to say? And we've been in relationship with each other for 38 or 39 years. And I'll tell you that from one day to another, if him and I aren't in alignment, my experience of our relationship can go from 0 to 100, 100 to 0. Like it can flip on a dime, depending on the energy and the intention we have towards each other. Nothing can be different. Isn't that crazy? So that's just an example of something that reminds me that it's like an understanding that I have come to realize of my humanity and how it impacts my experience in this world and how I can live in harmony. I pay more attention now to the invisible, my mood, the energy that whether I'm tired or not, rather than the physical, whether it's just part of the phase of our life too, because we've gotten to the point where we have achieved or acquired all the things that I think we thought that we were supposed to get. And so it's easy to draw our attention to something else. And I'm hopeful in the fact that it's just part of the season, that it matters more who we're being while we're doing. And that's just an example of this. And so what I'm going to do is go over the different concepts of love being human, mention the exercises or tools that are available that I practice or that I've added to the book. And then if there's any courses or experiences that you can go through, like sort of like a DIY, do it yourself. And so this is not the beginning, but it is where I will start, and it is with love. When I was searching for and trying to uncover the meaning of true love, I was discombobulated by what I saw in the movies, what I read in the Bible, what I was told by society and culture was true love. and what I know now as the truths of love. And the first and foremost, like the most important thing about everything that I do is that love, the amount of love you receive, and I'm asking myself if this is true, and I think it is, the amount of love you receive is in direct proportion to the amount of self-compassion you can give yourself. Self-compassion, being compassionate, being kind to yourself first. I say that better begins within because it does for me. And so being able to experience kindness and compassion and giving that to yourself, being on your own side, being your friend, counting on yourself. I have started this new practice where I'll go into detail. I don't even have my journal near me, so I can't speak to it in specifics. But one of the things that I do, it's like it takes me like 3 to 5 minutes. But one of the things that I do is I make a promise to myself. And there is just this like untouchable sort of confidence that I am building in myself as I say, this is what I plan for today, and then to look at it and see it done. I don't know if I've learned to be more realistic about what I expect of myself, but I love it. And so I tie it directly back to self-compassion. The other skill that I want to emphasize is gratitude. And because I have heard this from clients, what I'm going to emphasize on is, and that's actually part of one of the 5 things that I do in the morning, is I am grateful. I write down what I am grateful for in the moment. And this morning, I actually wrote down how the birds were on point. They were just, I can hear them through my window even before I open my eyes. And so I was so grateful for that wake up song. But I felt that gratitude, and it became an experience. And so if you're struggling or feel kind of about your quote unquote gratitude practice, find a way to make it an experience. Here's a good one. Try a cold plunge. Then you'll be grateful for being warm. Try to sleep on the floor, and then you'll be grateful for your soft bed. Like, give yourself an experience of gratitude. And then it won't be mute, like just this practice that you're doing on paper. It will be a felt sense of gratitude for the thing that you are grateful for. That's my little tip. And then the third, looks like there's one more after this. So the third skill that I invite you to build, whether you use the tools that I suggest in the book or you figure out a way to do it yourself, is forgiveness. I know that when I experienced my near-death experience, that the opportunity, the ability, the experience of forgiveness in that moment, and if you haven't heard it, I'll briefly tell it now. When I was hit by the car as I was walking across the street, I was shocked out of my body. I believe my consciousness was just kind of bumped. I don't know what happened. And this description of what happened is like 1% of what actually happened. So I'm really literally just pointing to the moon. The first thing I experienced was love. It was a re-experiencing of every loving moment I had ever had. Like every smile, every kindness throughout my life from anyone. I re-experienced it. I felt it. And it just, I don't know, like made me blow up. Like it was great. And once that happened, it was like the way that I imagine dust collects matter in the clouds and then drops to rain. That collected in my cells to anything that needed to be forgiven, and it fell. It literally fell, and I had no weight, and then I became like mist. And so that forgiveness experience felt like a cheat code to another level of living. And there are some tools that I offer in the book, but you forgive others for yourself, not for them. And I think that forgiving ourselves is really the best gift that we can give ourselves. Forgive ourselves for whatever it is that you hold against yourself. So those 3 skills, and then literally we cannot be a human being. There is no way to thrive in this experience without community. And meaningful relationships are so important. So I emphasize community in the book. Okay, so I want to recommend, I actually took the compassion cultivation training, CCT program from Stanford. And I recommend those exercises that they offer for self-compassion in addition to others. I also have a course that you can take that does not cost a fee. There's no charge to it. You simply go to the website www.viviancarrasco.com and then /start-here. There's a couple of courses there, but one of them is a 40-day email. I believe there's the word love in there. And what will happen is I will send you an email. Well, I won't. Magically, the system behind the scenes will send you an email I wrote a long time ago. But what is magic about that experience is that when you reply, I will see that reply. And so if you feel like you need support or you just want to share an experience that you're having, if you decide to take that course, then I encourage you to reply. So this section is love. And again, what I emphasize in my teachings and in the book is that deepening your connection to yourself first matters. I believe better begins within. And so if you haven't yet, turning inward towards yourself to unfold the mystery of you is going to be such a fun adventure. The second part of the book is being, and the skills that I emphasize there are presence, contemplation, prayer, and reflection. One of the most important things that I've noticed about reflecting in our society, we drive forward hard. We keep going and striving and striving. And it is not as common for us to pause and to look back, pat ourselves on the back for what we've done, what we've accomplished, and what we've been through. So reflecting is important. I add exercises to help you move into presence, to experience contemplation through breath awareness. I think the coolest things I've come up with is the acronym MINE goals. The MINE goals is on page 109. And one of the courses in the Start Here that you can select from is imagining your ideal, because your imagination is more than magic. Your imagination is one of the coolest tools that you have at your fingertips. And learning how to dream and how to wish and how to imagine is as important as learning how to read and write, in my opinion. So the biggest thing about this section of the book that I hope comes across is that this awakening, unless it happens like mine did in a big boom of a near-death experience, it's a gradual practice of waking up from our dream, a different kind of dream than the dream you'll have when you do have self-awareness. And the way that I suggest that you do that is through a daily spiritual practice. That spiritual practice can be something that is considered traditionally contemplative, like prayer, or it can be a walk, a barefoot walk, or sitting barefoot in the earth near a tree. It can be watching a candle. It literally can be anything that draws you inward, that you can practice consistently over time. Then it'll unfold the softening of your heart, the metanoia of your life. And here's like the coolest thing for you to do, in my opinion, is to engage in a holy, creative, holy like an intuitive creativity, something that draws forth the innate artist in you, something that brings to the world the gifts that you are here to give us. That creativity could be, again, anything, because that creativity needs to be specific to you. It's like a fingerprint. It's unique. I can't recommend a specific thing, but one of the things that I have enjoyed walking people through is putting something on a canvas. Really enjoyed seeing people move through that hesitation of not knowing what something is going to look like, and then being mesmerized and just like proud of themselves for what came to be. It doesn't have to be. This kind of creativity helps train ourselves in having faith, right? Being open to the moment, being uncertain. That is faith, is the uncertainty of life. And then this humanity, which is the craziest and coolest part. I think I've said every part is cool, but it is. Where we are understanding ourselves and we are continuing to build the muscle of self-awareness. And like I said in the beginning, in the intro to this, it's just so magical to know that this is a never-ending journey, that I will always be becoming, that BB will be coming through. I don't have words for it. It is just so cool to really understand that and know that in my cells, because it's less scary to come up to the mic and to say words and to somehow think I'm going to be wrong or that I'm not exactly right, because I can change my mind, because changing our minds is part of the gifts that we have, right? Can I give you like a cheat code? Mindfulness, not meditation, mindfulness. It is simply noticing. It is being curious, serving yourself a dose of science. And something is interesting to me. Sometimes I'll say, fascinating. Ooh, like what? It's just amazing. So noticing. The other most critical exercise tool is that I recommend from the humanity perspective, like literally understanding the body that we're in and how it's designed, is making a consistent and conscious effort to override our negativity bias. You gotta do it. Your happiness set point is not fixed. Imagine your house. If your temperature's at 45, hopefully it's not, that's kind of cold, and you want it to be at 75, well, you turn up the heater. You adjust the temperature. It's not fixed. Neither are you. Your happiness set point is not fixed. You can be happier. It just takes training. And so overriding the negativity bias is critical. It's important to take in the good. And another tool that I suggest in the book is to take the mass scale so that you can understand. That's like an awareness set point, just to give you sort of a line in the sand of where you are. And as you practice, you can actually see whether you've grown or shifted or changed, how you've grown, shifted and changed as you move through your practice. Enjoying life is not our default. Isn't that crazy? You have to override the negativity bias. And so one of the courses that I have that has been translated slightly into the book is The Journey to Joy. And you can access that on page 149. There's a journaling exercise on page 157. So these are all tools, exercises that you can enjoy, that you can experience, that you can engage with. The fundamental piece, understanding our humanity, is to be curious, to notice, And that all sort of falls into the mindfulness category. I am beyond grateful, honored, just happy in this moment to have put a bow on these few critical concepts that I wanted to draw out from the book. So whether you have the book or not, now you have a kind of cool overview. Oh, so what I emphasize is in these series of episodes that are the Learning to Love Being Human series is the difference between wanting and needing, and the resistance that is going to come up when you start to walk this path, or just honoring the resistance because it's there right now. You were designed to survive. You weren't designed to thrive. So you have needs that your body will try to meet, which are safety, the security, and connection. Anything that puts those things in danger, it's going against what you need. So wanting something that threatens those things is going to be scary for you. I already talked a little bit about the difference between belief versus faith, and that is the loss of certainty. So being open to everything. And, I have written down an example. So one thing is like, if you only think that 1 + 1 = 2, then it's always true, then you're not having faith, because that is a fixed idea. 1 + 1 can be 1. Think of the clouds. Think of water. So that's that uncover, notice, curiosity. I already talked about being a scientist, but you can empty yourself of yesterday. Don't have attachment to tomorrow. And here's a good one, metanoia. I think I spend the next 3 pages talking about metanoia. I remember when I was taking notes, metanoia is putting on a new mind, a new way of seeing. It's literally a spiritual revolution. Andrew Greenwell, I got this from Catholics Online, called metanoia the sine qua non of Christian life. He boldly stated that we cannot be Christian without it. So Learning to Love Being Human is a lived experience that ended with the publishing of my book, and the next 10 years will be about living these lessons. I'm bringing forth the spirituality of my wisdom and my inner knowing, and the never-ending path of listening with our hearts in order to think differently. So I emphasize metanoia a little bit more by quoting What Christians Believe by Pope Benedict XVI. He called metanoia the fundamental datum of Christian experience. I wish I could read my writing. And then in the Pantheon, Pope Paul VI defined the concept of metanoia as a change of heart. Metanoia is not a one-time change of heart. It's continual, constant. It's a perpetual habit. And then, oh my goodness, my favorite too, Richard Rohr and Anthony DeMello, reminded me that the first thing Jesus said when he started preaching was repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's Matthew 4:17. And repent is the Greek word metanoia, to change our minds and to see the world with heart. So train your mind to notice love versus our default mode. That's kind of what the book is all about. And then what I do at the end is I answer the question how, because it's typically what I'm asked. One favorite phrase that I remember from a student and client was, could you put shoes on that, maybe? Which meant, can you make it more practical? I mean, how exactly do I do that? And it is a lived practice. I can't teach you what you're going to learn from your own experience. And like I said earlier about teaching yourself, having a lived experience of gratitude, this is a direct felt experience. It's cool for you to hear my words, but it doesn't become real until you do it, until you have that practice, until you experience that creativity. It's like me describing what a lemon is versus you actually tasting a lemon. There is no learning without your experience. But I encourage you to stop outsourcing your wisdom. Stop reaching for Google first in order to learn or understand what something means. Lean on your own intuition. Ignite your imagination. Kindle your inner fire. Turning inward, you're going to rediscover and remember what your personal truth is. It's a never-ending path. And so, that is the summary or the overview of this series of episodes. And then here's the invitation if you're still with me and you're feeling stuck. You're still feeling confused. You don't know what to do next. Or you're just frustrated because the progress you're making on your own isn't fast enough. If you're impatient and you're looking for a guide, if you're looking for support, I can help you. Look within and learn how to do these things so that you don't feel lost or left in the dark. If you're interested in working with me, I want you to call or text 760-576-5683. That's 760-576-LOVE. Isn't that cool? Reach out to me. Let me know that you're looking for support, and then we'll figure out which of the several different ways that we can work together is the best fit for you. Adios.